Hello then, thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. This is the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku and here are the top stories. Thank you for staying with us. We'll begin from stories outside the shores of Nigeria, where Canada Prime Minister Trudeau has resigned. 3 Israelis killed, several injured in Northwest Bank shooting. Military discloses Bello Turji now living in holes like a rat. Peter Obi raises alarm over alleged threat to lie by APC's Felix Moka. President Tinubu departs Lagos for Mahama's inauguration in Ghana. People's Gazette discloses that President Tinubu pays U.S. lobbyists $2.7 million to destroy drug dealing certificate forgery scandals. Details now. The news begins where the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, has announced his resignation from office. Speaking today, the Prime Minister said he will leave office soon as the ruling Liberal Party chooses a new leader. Trudeau, who has been in power since 2015, disclosed to reporters in Ottawa following a protracted political crisis that saw top Liberal allies urging him to quit. While in Israel, 3 Israelis were killed today and several injured in a shooting attack on a car and a bus near the settlement of Kedumim in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. And this is according to Israel's National Ambulance Service, Megan David Adam. Monday's attack comes amid a diplomatic push for a deal to end the 15-month-old war in Gaza and return Israeli hostages home, and pose another obstacle to sealing such a deal before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump takes office on January 20. Israel's Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who lives in the settlement where the attack took place, called for an urgent cabinet meeting to discuss a shift in strategy and to genuinely eradicate terrorism. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to bring the perpetrators and anyone who aided them to justice. While back home in Nigeria, notorious terrorist and bandit leader Bello Turji is reported living in hiding as military forces continue to neutralize his fighters and destroy his camps in Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara state. While speaking to newsmen today, a spokesperson for Operation Fansanyama, a military security outfit in the northwest, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Abdullahi, said the sustained air and ground offensives have significantly weakened Turji's network. He also disclosed that the operation was intensified following threats from Turji to unleash violence on Shinkafi local government if its relatives arrested for alleged terrorism were not released. Turji had reportedly launched attacks in the area, kidnapping travelers and causing widespread fear amongst residents. However, the military's swift response has led to the destruction of Turji's camps and the neutralization of several of his fighters, including another notorious bandit leader Sani Rusu. The recent strikes by the air component of Operation Fansanyama have dismantled terrorist strongholds in the region. The military has also vowed to continue its offensive until all terrorist elements are eradicated. Now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has alleged a threat to his life by Felix Moka, the spokesman of the All Progressives Congress. The allegation comes after Obi criticized President Bola Tinubu's administration for failing to address the worsening economic and security challenges in the country. According to Peter Obi, Moka's recent statement on a Monitor television program, where he said, and I quote, "Peter Obi has crossed the line so many times and has it coming to him. Whatever he gets is a threat to his life and the lives of his family members." Obi, who served as the governor of Anambra State for 8 years, had demanded vigorous positive actions from the administration to bring relief to Nigerians whom he claimed were losing hope. He made the statement at a press conference on the state of the nation, which was titled "Nigeria Needs Selfless and Exemplary Leadership." In response to Obi's allegations, Moka described Obi's claims as ridiculous and accused him of being deceptive. Moka also stated that Obi had crossed the line and needed to relax and allow his lawyers to handle his case at the tribunal. Obi's statement on social media platform X reads, "Have I really crossed the line? I asked the question because my New Year message has now led to threats against my life, my family and those around me. While I have received all sorts of messages, one Mr. Felix Smoker has gone farther to accuse me of crossing the line and has warned that I will face the consequences. I find it necessary to share this message again and urge everyone who has not seen it to watch. If I have truly crossed the line, I invite anyone to point it out, as I remain committed to upholding decorum. However, I will not be silenced in my resolve to speak truthfully, especially as our nation continues to drift towards undemocratic practices. We are increasingly transforming into an authoritarian and repressive regime where freedom of expression is being systematically suppressed. May God help us create a better and freer society for the sake of our children." Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has departed Lagos for Accra, Ghana to attend the inauguration ceremony of Ghana's President-elect John Dramani Mahama, scheduled for Tuesday. The president, who spent the festive season in Lagos, left the Murtala Mohammed International Airport earlier today. Reports that the Nigerian leader's visit follows an invitation from Mahama, who had previously met with President Tinubu during a December visit to Nigeria. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, disclosed in a statement issued on Sunday, where he said that Mahama and President Tinubu have a long-standing personal relationship, just like Nigeria and Ghana maintains a long-standing bilateral relationship. John Dramani Mahama, who previously served as Ghana's 12th president from 2011 to 2017, was re-elected in December 2024, succeeding President Nana Akufo-Addo. As the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Tinubu will join other African leaders at the inauguration to celebrate the democratic transition. Accompanying the president on this official trip are the president, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumigojuku, and other senior government officials. Now, in a recent exclusive by investigative media platform People's Gazette, President Tinubu has hired lobbyists in the United States to help convince lawmakers and policymakers that he carries acceptable personal probity to lead Nigeria. According to it, there followed reports of his involvement in illicit drug peddling and certificate fraud. Mr. Tinubu engaged public relations experts, including David Spalding of Lenape Legal, based in a sleepy Philadelphia suburb, to help his administration navigate Washington's concerns about his unsavory public profile. The People's Gazette learned via documents and sources familiar to the story. The Nigerian leader doomed the hirings necessary after evaluating the impact widespread coverage of the narcotics and certificate saga allegedly had on his prestige before his foreign counterparts. A senior administration official said under anonymity to discuss the president's key vulnerability. Mr. Spalding's firm indicated it started work in April 2024, a few months after Nigerians' interest in the scandal peaked, and the Supreme Court said it was insufficient to truncate Mr. Tinubu's nascent tenure. According to them, the president feels that the bad stories are impeding his ability to govern. Now, the official at the Justice Ministry said, "Look, some of us know they look down on him like a pariah, which is unfair. You can see the president taking pictures with world leaders, but no one answers his calls to discuss social and economic issues affecting Nigeria, which is what he actually needs," the official at the firm disclosed. Mr. Tinubu has attended summits of global leaders in France, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia, amongst others, but those invitations were largely statutory for Nigeria as Africa's most populous and largest economy. What Mr. Tinubu really wanted, the aide said, was to be given special foreign policy concessions similar to how Nigeria scored big under former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan. His attempt to flex international muscle months after assuming office ended in humiliation after the Emiratis repudiated key prongs of an agreement he purportedly locked in following a meeting in Abu Dhabi in September 2023. The Nigerian economy, however, has trended rapidly downward since Mr. Tinubu's inauguration in May 2023. However, the president's cabinet does not believe that his administration has trended rapidly downward. Rather, there is an accelerated development in the economic projections. Critics say he overfilled his cabinet with corrupt and incompetent politicians with limited contacts outside Nigeria. Atiku Bagudu, infamous for helping a former Sani Abacha, according to this report on the People's Gazette, to launder billions in stolen public funds in the 1990s, and Nyesom Wike as well, who others have labeled to be into some indiscriminate practices, are members of his key ministries, departments and agencies whom critics believe are debasing the crucial sector within his cabinet. Also, others mentioned Uche Nnaji, who has remained in the president's cabinet more than 6 months. The Gazette, however, exposed that he forged the National Youth Service Certificate he submitted to the Nigerian Senate to skill confirmation. Administration officials readily dismissed opposition attacks that the president was hemorrhaging in credibility, relying on just his foreign troops, but also the quality of foreign leaders he has entertained at the State House, including German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Justice Ministry officials said the president followed advice to reconstruct his image with members of the U.S. House of Representatives, senators, and White House official. The official at the firm also added that the contract, some of which were signed for the government of Nigeria to obscure Mr. Tinubu's personal stake, would satisfy the chores. The allegation, while substantially factual, were by themselves not entirely new, but their discussion had been largely restricted to online chat boards and spotlights on social media platforms for several years, until Mr. Abubakar sought to use them to blunt Mr. Tinubu's appeal ahead of the 2023 elections. Mr. Tinubu, the president of the country, was declared winner, while Mr. Abubakar's legal team prioritized factual elements of the claims while litigating the vote outcome before the Election Petitions Tribunal and ultimately the Supreme Court. An investigative online platform. They have actually disclosed that the president was able to pay about $2.7 million to help lobbyists in the US to burnish his image by destroying all the records concerning his drug dealing and certificate forgery scandal. Now, it has actually created quite the talk across all social media platforms. The firms headed by David Spalding, he's the chief executive for Lenape Legal, and according to them, they say that that particular story has made the president's administration look unserious to his international counterparts. In fact, a lot of persons actually believe within the firm and that it was important for him to seek redress in all of this. Now, this is what the David Spalding of Lenape Legal, who is based in Philadelphia, he said that they were contacted or contracted to help his administration navigate the concerns about his public profile. All right, and that it was important for the leader, that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the hiring to evaluate the impact of the widespread coverage of that particular daunting situation with his certificate and the drug dealing situation. Do you think that that will help anything in the grand scheme of things concerning how a lot of international world leaders and even Nigerians perceive the president with these scalding reports on his person? What's your take on that? Mr. Elvis, can you hear me?
The story, and I went through it.
Go ahead, I can hear you. Mr. Elvis, can you hear me?
Yeah. And the work actually, almost everything that were published around that 2020 general election concerning his drug addiction, peddling and corruption, they are already online. What can the PRO pen do? Is he going to start cleaning those records? And they are in the mind of people. So it just makes him mockery of himself and makes him mockery of Nigeria before the international community. I don't see anything coming out of it, Esther. It's just wasted resources and wasting of time. And even using this opportunity again to remind the world what have almost before start forgetting about his image. When this story came up again, it's like a development. And this one is going to trend for a long time now before it starts wearing off. So they are witnessing those things the world was already putting behind them concerning him. If he really wants to launder his image, he has to do it before Nigerians. If his government becomes popular with Nigerians, the people are happy with him. The people will even assist him, to begin to launder his image before the world in a positive form. Unfortunately, he has gone the wrong way. Spending all that millions of dollars, for this project is a wasted resources sector.
Mr. Elvis Elimehele, it's quite unfortunate, the development. Apparently, can you hear me well? You seem to be on speaker.
I'm hearing you. I can hear you very well.
All right, and I know you're on the road. Yes, I know you're on the road.
I'm parked out of the road.
All right. So, Mr. Elvis, here is the thing. The president refused to talk about that particular drug dealing scandal and the situation with his certificate. I remember when the case was at the court, at the Supreme Court, yes, because the evidence couldn't be presented by Atiko's team at the tribunal, but it was presented at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had said it was quite late for this particular evidence to actually come. We actually heard about the court proceedings that took place where they asked questions to some of the staff at the Chicago University to authenticate indeed the certificate evaluation if it is actually true. But Mr. Elvis Elimehele, don't you think that the president paying this legal team right in Philadelphia authenticates all the stories about the drug-related situation, narcotic scandal, and obviously the certificate forgery scandal, despite the fact that he has always denied it, specifically the certificate forgery scandal? Don't you think that this authenticates it?
Yeah, this what has just come up now has advocated that actually he committed the crime, because if not, he won't have been looking for ways to cover it up at this time now. Everything that went on around that 2023 to 2024, both in Nigeria and were obvious truth. That's why the president is looking for her to cover this. Were obvious truth. That's why the president is looking for her to cover the image up now, and start looking for her to repeat his image before the world. So the democracy that we practice in both America now and in Nigeria is questionable. Now, if you are bringing people with suspicious character to now begin to lead the democracy that you so cherish, it is the democracy as if its usefulness is no longer credible as the world has taken it to be over the years. We fought, Nigeria fought against this. Nigeria said, no, this man is not credible enough to be our president. But unfortunately, the world joined him, and the court in Nigeria also joined him to get the position. And here we are now. Secretly, he has gone to contact this PRO firm now, which means everything said about him during that 2023 general election is all truth. That's what we are just moving to the world now.
All right, Mr. Elvis, here is the thing. I want to read out some phrases from the People's Gazette, because they were the ones that published this particular story. And I'm very certain that the presidency is going to come for the People's Gazette, because they've complained actually about their stories, and also for the fact that the owner of this particular website, this investigative website, is actually from the Southwest. So a couple of the supporters of this administration are coming hard on People's Gazette. Now, this is the phrase on that particular story. They said in the Spalding firm, right, the Lenape firm, they said the president feels that the bad stories are impeding his ability to go. He actually said to the legal firm. And according to the official at the Justice Ministry, they said, this is what they said. Look, some of us know they look down on him like a pariah, which is unfair. So does it mean that most of these international trips that the president takes, nothing substantial comes out of it if they look down on him or if he's not well respected? Is it also possible that most of these trips he takes and takes pictures are just for the sake of clearing out his image and giving an impression, all right, to the international community, or give an impression to Nigerians that indeed he is regarded even outside this country? How do you see this?
Yeah, he's telling you now that he has discussing himself on the international community for accessibility. And now he's not getting it the way he's supposed to get it. That's why this started to assist him. See the number of Bitcoin cable he has made within 1 year and some months he's been in the office. You see, you don't force your integrity. Once you have integrity, people give you the natural respect. He has not gotten it because the world knew so much of his participant when he was campaigning. everything about him was on the internet. And people when the election gave him that position in Nigeria that he was one and won the election, he started traveling. Even though he invited and those that he has not even invited people, he tried to take picture, to just to say his face. They have not actually worked. That's why this one came up. So you just discover that you don't force the integrity on people. People accept you if when they know that you have that integrity. Naturally, I'm trying to say I'm not actually doing that because if they are fighting drugs in Nigeria, you see what the NDA is doing on Tinubu Marwa, then the president at the launch of affairs has a case that he has no $450,000. You know what that means?
Yes.
That he forfeited because of drug matter. That lost some good millions of naira in Nigeria. Yes, and he's carrying on as if nothing went wrong. But deep down, this is why the media must talk. We are not comfortable because we know them and we talk about that.
So, but Mr. Elvis, if they are saying that the president is taking pictures with these world leaders, but no one is answering his calls to discuss social and economic issues affecting Nigeria, which is what he actually needs. So, what is the essence of all these trips he's been taking? However, we've seen his recent agreement with France, although they've been friends for quite a while. Even the situation with Qatar, that's Dubai now, I think we've been able to lift up the visa ban and all. But most of the other trips has been taken to most of these foreign continents. Are we saying that with this particular actors, how will that change those who do not support him, those who do not perceive him to be authentic? How will that change their perception of him with what this firm is intended to do to clear out the money laundering charges, or rather the narcotics charges and the certificate forgery scandal? How will this firm be able to clear out all those records?
It is not possible to clear it, Esther. It has even worsened it now. With this story that came out now, it has worsened it. It means, they have accepted now that he actually committed that crime. That's why he's trying to look for a coverage, to see how he can clean it up. So he has even worsened it now. If he had even left it the way it was, to start this day, he has been trying around, trying to save his face, even though the world knows who he is, he's recovering it up, so just trying to cover it up. Unfortunately, with this one that came up now, the story is as fresh as any other thing in the media and the world and on the net. So I don't see anything that is going to come out of this money he went to waste. It's wasted money, and because even when they try to do their work, they will not clear your passion, they will not clear your mind, and in my own mind. And all of us in the media will continue to make reference to it when we are analyzing issues. You remember that there was a time the president of Nigeria was elected, even when he has a $450,000, hanging on his neck, he forfeited as a result of drug peddling business he was involved in. So we all know this. Nobody can change those records. No PR firm can change it. It has come to play. Unfortunately, it is just Nigeria money that is just being wasted, in doing all this, moving around the world, telling us that he's the chief marketer of this nation. How can a chief marketer that doesn't have a sincere record be reckoned with in the world? So, we are just cajoling ourselves and making mockery of this nation because the INEC imposed the leader on us who, even right from the beginning, we knew we had a terrible character, but INEC imposed it on us, and that's the result of what we are facing now. We're supposed to live with this program in the next 4 years of this administration. Otherwise, because there is nothing we can do, all these are not going to work. It's just wasting of money and time, Esther.
Mr. Elvis, in October last year, 2024, thereabout, I think the FBI released the 2,500 documents, or part of the 2,500 documents, which were meant to supposedly validate all the claims of the president's activities in the United States of America, including the narcotics charge and other activities he was being part of. Unfortunately, when that report was released, or when that document was released, his name was completely redacted. But some of his associates were mentioned in that particular report. Could it be that this legal firm were the ones that influenced or enabled it in such a way to cover up the president's name? Could this have been part of the services that the president actually paid this legal firm for?
Yes, absolutely, Esther. They started their work even before that FBI report came out.
They said they started right in April, immediately after the elections. Immediately after the elections, and he was confirmed the winner. Yes.
Yes, that's part of what this laundering of image has started. They started their work. They started cleaning some of the records so that his name will not appear in most of the areas that we already know before. Unfortunately, they never knew that this story will leak out as it is now. We have not known that what FBI did last time, where we did see his name, where we spoke to see his name, are part of the orchestrated cover-up that he has used money, to start doing Nigerian money to start covering up his image. The FBI at this moment should be ashamed of themselves because we look at such organizations to be very credible. We make mention of it when we are referring to issues in Nigeria every day. But unfortunately, we have not seen that they can also be bought over by government. There is nothing Nigerians cannot actually do when it comes to spending money, to the harm of the people. So FBI have not fared well. American government too has not fared well. And even the democracy itself has become very questionable. If we cannot begin to bring people of questionable character to the head of democracy in respective countries of the world, then the democracy has at least, it's almost as leaving its usefulness before the people. Because if we have actually allowed the popular opinion of the Nigeria, for the world being interested in this matter, join INEC to impose him or not.
Now, Mr. Elvis, here is the thing, right? What do you expect the team of the president to do with this report? I know that this particular platform, People's Gazette, have come under heavy attack from the administration. I'm suspecting that a couple of things could happen. They could look for a way to close down the website, anything, because that is what happens when things like this are brought to the public that puts the administration in bad light. Bayo Onanuga is yet responded now, but maybe I haven't been able to see it. So the usual tactic of the administration is to defend. What do you think their defense will be? Is it to discountenance the authenticity of this report or to call it fake as usual?
No, they will come and deny it. They will come and deny it. You know that they are very good at that. And the People's Gazette that punctured this story are going to face a lot of fire. You know what it can do?
Yes.
They are going to come up with so many kangaroo methods to stand down there. But the People's Gazette has been very credible. They put so many stories within the Afro before now.
Yes.
And Nigeria know how credible they are. That's why when this story came out today, everybody, fested on it. Unfortunately, they are not to have it, as expected. The people will be with them, but the government is going to come down there. And between us tomorrow morning, I know Bayo Onanuga and his team will issue statement, denying this, calling the People's Gazette names, and they will say it's opposition that is sponsoring them, to put down the image of this government. They're going to hear more. I'm not going to speak for them. We know what they can do. But we know how the denial is
Mr. Elvis, would you agree? Okay. Would you agree that this administration really does know how to use information tools, social media and the likes, and it has a strong support base? There are people right now on X tweeting, countering all the reports, maybe using tribe and other sentiments to distract Nigerians from this expose. Would you agree that the president's team or the supporters of this administration are really, really working hard? They have a way of diffusing whatever comes up in the polity about this administration. They have a way of distracting the main focus from him to other unrelated issues. They've used tribe, they've used bigotry and other political opponents to douse the tension or to douse the fire on any of those reports that come up. So is it going to be possible to see that there is a way that those working on social media would douse and distract the attention of what this publicity actually entails or validates about the claims of the president's certificate scandal and all whatnot?
They are going to see more of that. There are going to be distraction. They are going to use social media, to run down this report. So Esther, you even look at the constitution of the media team of the president. Look at the constitution of the media team. There are people like look at this Daniel Bwala that was just brought in. These are people like attack dogs. They are not PRO specialists, Esther. They are not PRO professionals. They just bring them in to begin to attack whoever says anything about the government, whether the person is speaking the truth or not. So that's why they enjoy recruiting attack dogs. They enjoy recruiting attack dogs, social media influencers who will begin to come in with religion, come in that this will be
basically tribes, specifically against the Igbos. That's basically what they have been using to counter.
So just to divide the people. But let me tell you, they can succeed in dividing the people, but the truth will not be out of the media. The media will continue to remind them, because this one also have come into the has come into our documentation now in the media, and we are going to start making reference to it. It's so shameful that the president of the nation can go into a PRO and a media FM to such an amount of money, to just to help it to launder his image positively before the world. It's such a shame. It just brought the reputation of Nigeria so low, whether at home or in diaspora.
All right, Mr. Elvis, let's look at Peter Obi, the candidate of the 2023 presidential elections under the flagship of the Labour Party. He has alleged threat to his life by Felix Smoker, the spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress. According to Peter Obi, he said that Felix Smoker said in response to his media press briefing that he has crossed the line so many times and has it coming to him whatever he gets. Now, that's a very subtle threat. Now, is it that anybody who speaks against the administration, anyone who counters anything this administration does, there is a risk to the person's businesses, the person's life, or whatever? Because the statement Felix Smoker said is actually everywhere trending. The supporters of this administration are supporting what Felix Smoker said. But has it gotten to this point in our democracy that when there is constructive criticism, it is seen as if somebody is trying to create anarchy or chaos, and they look for anything to slam on the person as one who is trying to divide the polity rather than criticize the administration? What's your take on that?
It's a shame because democracy has to do with check and balances. And
Yes.
one of the ways of checking the government democracy is to begin to look at the policies of that government and critique it where necessary. And that's what Peter Obi has just done. And that's what he will continue to do. No matter the intimidation, he should continue with it. Because Nigerians need to know the truth. Nigerians need to know what is happening, in the corridors of Apple Rock, so that at the end of the day, we will know whether we the government level or not. No matter the level of intimidation, I think the opposition should do more, especially now that we see that those former candidates are even the ones that are just like the opposition parties now, because the government of the day have been able to, divide the opposition into different spheres that the opposition political parties no longer hold. But we still thank God that the few individuals, the few candidates that came up from the respective party are still speaking, because the party reps are as good as dead. But let me tell you, we are going to see more of this as we are moving forward this year and come 2023. 2023 is the year to the election. So they are going to clamp down on people's businesses, to render them financially incapable to do what they're supposed to do, and they're going to come up with so many analogies to clamp down. They are even going to tell some of them as terrorists.
Exactly.
Some of them are sponsors of terrorists. Terrorism. Because
Bayo Onanuga had actually hinted. Bayo Onanuga hinted at that. He made that statement.
Yes.
I think before the End Bad Governance protest, when Peter Obi said people have a right to protect mental opposition along with his support base.
Yes.
What do you think he needs to do more, or how do you think he needs help? Because right now, if you go on X, the supporters of this administration are coming down hard on anybody that critiques this administration. They are suppressing voices. They are calling names. In fact, the recent one now against Peter Obi, and obviously there's no authentication to that, is that he was part of those who tried to squabble the 1993 Abiola general elections, that he worked along with former military head of state Ibrahim Babangida, part of the other injury. But that is basically the propaganda that has been circulating against him. The idea is to discredit his personality and obviously make him lose support. So what more do you think can be done? The Labour Party has not been responding. They've been quiet. They've been at the background. All those who were fighting for the Labour Party or against the Labour Party, like the Araban Bees and the Lamidi Akpapas, they've all been quiet. Julius Aberi, they've all been quiet. No one is saying anything. So Peter Obi is the only person speaking. And it seems like right now they are submerging or trying to suppress him. What more can the opposition do to actually stay strong in these trying times?
Unfortunately, the political party as opposition leaders are dead. But the individuals that contested in the various political parties as candidates in the 2023 general election that are still able to do this, we have to applaud them, and Nigerians have to support them. Let me tell you, we know the truth. They shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. We know the truth in this nation. So Obi should not relent, and Chief Baka should not relent. Mr. Adebayo of SDP too should not relent. They should continue to scrutinize every activity of this government, because all those attack dogs you see on social media, are recruited by the government. They are on the government payroll, and we know them. They come in different forms, on religious ground, on tribal ground, and all that. So people said the former president, Ibrahim Babangida,
yes.
It was just a kind of Yuletide visit, season visit, greeting. So I know they are coming out with so many things on that visit, but that's not an issue, Esther. But you and I know that whatever they come out with, here in Nigeria, we know where the shoe pitches us. We actually know the truth more than those attacks that I know that want a good Nigeria to actually emerge, come 2027 and beyond. To not renege, we must be able to tell the truth, and Nigerians are ready to back them up. You see, every attack that come on Obi and other, people also speak for Obi, even on Obi's behalf, even when Obi is not there. So that's to tell you that Nigerians are tired of all the lies coming out from the ruling government, and that Nigeria actually know those that are, supporting them and speaking the truth. So they should not relent. Continue with criticism and to make the policies of this government to be known more to Nigerians, because most of the time when they come to deny them, Nigerians don't really understand what they are denying. But when it is analyzed in this nature, Nigerians know better. So some of us in the media too, Esther, should not also relent. We must also begin to check them, because that is actually the job of the media, the fourth realm of the state. We have to guide on these things and look at where the government is faring well and where it's not faring well. But as far as this government is concerned, we know too well that more lies have been told to Nigerians than the truth Nigeria expected.
So with this particular expose now, the president has actually, will I say, manifested a disposition of not caring about what critics are saying. In fact, before what this People's Gazette expose expunged, from the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team, the president had the disposition of not caring about anything being said about him in a negative light. So do you think he will care about how Nigerians will react to this particular report? And then at the end of the day anyways, what difference will it make now that the report is out? It doesn't stop the president from being the president. It doesn't stop him from continuing to be the president. It would not make sense. So what exactly does this particular report intend to make out, aside from authenticating the speculation about the president's past?
Well, it's not going to, remove him as president, but the truth of the matter there is that as Nigerians and Nigerians with integrity know that the person we have there as president is not actually representing the integrity of this nation as expected. So that must continue. You see, there were some people, somebody like Yusuf, Aisha Yusuf said he's not going to recognize him as his president throughout his regime, as administration. So more Nigerians are going to key into that because that belittles the whole country. You know what that means? Even if they are telling us that it's the chief marketer of this nation, the chief marketer must live above board. The chief marketer must be able to be the sort of person that when the world sees, we will earn that respect from the world. But ours is not like that. So we are going to see more of attacks. We are going to see more of lies. But Nigerians know the truth, and that truth will remain with us. And those, and as some of us already have in our mind that this government is not ready to tell Nigeria where stop the situation in this nation, we are going to see more of that, because between now and next year, more are going to be thrown up.
Opposition political parties, a couple of persons are actually, or critics like yourself and political strategists are saying that if they don't start mobilizing and galvanizing now, that is trying to find out what they want, Nigerians may not trust them when they come up in 2026 to start campaigning, because they are not exuding that essence of selflessness towards wanting to really serve the people, aside from just wanting to. Had already advised about what the opposition political parties should do. But beyond that, though, the call for measure, do you think a measure is the only thing that can actually dissuade this administration from taking over in 2027? Or do we see this administration continuing its spring to continue to lead the country possibly till 2031?
Yeah, there should be merger and realignment, Esther, but it must be done with people with like mind and people that have the interest of Nigeria at heart. Not people that will also be like what we have in ACC, like come to grab, snatch, and run away with it. Nigerians have to know the people that are being thrown up now. Let the students of these people begin to be analyzed so that we'll be able to know the people who have the mindset to be able to lead this nation. We don't need a ruler any longer. We still rulers over the years. We need a leader that will be able to solve this, bring the solution of most of these issues that we are going through. So we need to start seeing names of people being thrown up now, so that we begin to analyze them, where they are coming from, what they have achieved in the past, and the way they have responded to some of these issues that have divided this nation over the years. So it is not something they should run, and cohesion and measure and cohesion and measure has to come up, because otherwise APC has all their apparatus on their hands. You know, when it comes to election, they have the INEC, they have the armed forces. So if we have an opposition now that is well grounded, that understand the rudiments of this nation and what Nigerians are going through, Nigeria will begin to buy into it. Even those who also recruit some of these people into the social media to begin to, help them to spread their names in the right form. Even though the government will be talking of clamping down on them, but they should also do more. We saw that already in 2020, 2013, 2014, when APC was coming up. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis.
Love that.
Thank you so much. I really sincerely do appreciate you really actually giving us in-depth insight into all of those questions posed at you. Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis.
Thank you, Esther. Have a nice time.
Yes, you too. To wrap up here again, other top stories. I heard that Canada Prime Minister Trudeau has resigned. 3 Israelis killed, several injured in northern West Bank shooting. Military discloses Bello Turji now living in the hose like a rat. Peter Obi raises alarm over alleged threat to life by APC's Felix Smoker. President Tinubu departs Lagos for Mahama's inauguration in Ghana. And People's Gazette exposes Tinubu pays US